subtract that from E1, which gives us D1. And since we didn't have any extra wraps of build-up tape, we don't have to worry about that. So what this club should come out as a swing weight should be D1. Moving ahead, let's look at our matching fairway woods. Our 3 wood started out as E2. Then we're going to add, again, 1 swing weight to E3 to allow for the grip cap. We take our 50-gram grip and divide by 5, we get 10. Subtract that from E3, we get D3. And lastly, we didn't have any extra wraps of tape, so that's what our final result is. And if you look at the calculation for the 5 wood, you see how we get D0 swing weight. So our pre-calculated swing weights come close to one another. Now there's a second method for pre-calculating swing weight, and that's using a split grip. In this method, we use a tour velvet grip, or whatever grip we'll be using in this assembly, that's been cut along the sides so you can slide on and off the grip easily. That way you can just slide it on all the way and you don't have to worry about that 1/8 of an inch of a grip cap. It's already there. Now, prior to installing the split grip, you want to first add any build-up tape, if there's any, for your golf club. Then you can directly read the swing weight off the scale and see what your club's going to come out to. Now, the next step is to use some sort of weight to balance the clubs within the set. The range of swing weight in the set in this example was only 3 points apart, but we'd like them to be at least plus or minus 1 swing weight tolerance, or maybe you want to do exact. Not in every case will you see the swing weights this close with the components that you have. Now, as a club maker, you have to decide on what type of tolerance is acceptable in your shop in regards to swing weighting, if you're going to allow any at all. In our example, to achieve a plus or minus 1 tolerance, we need to first look at our highest measurement, which was the 3 wood at D3. If a plus or minus 1 swing weight tolerance is fine, then our target is going to be D2. That means we could just leave the driver alone, and we would only need to add 1 swing weight to the 5 wood. If our goal is plus or minus 1/2 a swing weight, then our new target swing weight's D2.5. That's right, there's half swing weights. I'm just interpolating the differences between D2 and D3. That means we would need to add 1 swing weight to the driver and 2 swing weights to the 5 wood. And if we didn't want any tolerances at all, then we would end up bringing them all up to the 3 wood, which is D3, which was the highest of all. Now there's one last method that involves counterbalancing. Some club makers aren't fond of this, but I want to show it to you as an option, and you can decide for yourself. If the highest swing weight is more than what you want for the set, then you can match all the others the way you want to, and then back weight that 1 club to match. In this case, we might only want D2. So for the 3 wood, we just need to reduce the swing weight by a point, and then we wouldn't have any tolerances. As I mentioned before, you should decide on what type of tolerance is acceptable in your shop. Personally, I feel in this case that option number 1 with the plus or minus 1 tolerance is close enough. If you're starting out, you're probably going to want to be exact, and you'll find out that you're going to spend entirely too long to make it exact when minimal tolerances will more than suffice. Okay, here's another way to reduce swing weight tolerances, and that's by weight sorting your grips. It might be possible to use the tolerances to your advantage. In our example, the 5 wood had the lightest swing weight. Remember, I told you that grips have a plus or minus 3.5 gram swing weight differential. So if we use the lightest grip for the 5 wood and then the heaviest grip on the 3 wood, the swing weights may come out a little bit closer to one another. And this is more advantageous when we only have small tolerances in swing weighting. Again, because we're only going to have maybe a half a point, either way. Okay, now that we've established that we need to add weight to certain clubs or even back weight, what do we use? Well, we stated previously that 2 grams of weight is approximately 1 swing weight, at least when we're talking about the club head. In order to reach the target swing weight, we need to add some sort of weight. Now, I'm going to date myself here, but in the ancient years of club making, lead powder was the way to go. Think about this in this day and age. A box of lead powder left out in the open, not contained, right next to the swing weight station on an assembly line. I'm not even sure you can buy lead powder anymore, but if you can or have some, make sure that you use all safety precautions as possible. Luckily, we've become green in our club making. While lead is still available in the form of solid tip pens, we also have brass and tungsten plugs. We have tungsten powder. We have weighted screws, and we even have high-density lead foil tape to choose from. The most common method for club makers today is to add lead tape or add lead or a brass tip pen inside the tip of the shaft. And there's different sizes for both steel and graphite shafts because the differences between the inside diameters of these shafts. And this is accomplished by the club maker cutting everything to length and basically building the club while it's on the swing weight scale. By dry fitting assorted weight tip pens inside the tip, the swing weight can be fine-tuned with throughout the set. But it's not recommended to add any more than 10 grams of weight in a steel shaft or 6 grams of weight via a tip pen in a graphite shaft when trying to increase the swing weight. More than that, it's going to tend to adversely affect the club's center of gravity and its playability. By adding 10 grams, it shifts the center of gravity approximately 1/8 inch toward the hosel, plus it may also raise it a bit as well. And more than 6 grams in a graphite shaft can place the top of the pen above the top of the hosel. Now this is important, or make this a point, because this can create a stress riser within the shaft, and on a graphite shaft this could make the shaft break prematurely. So you're kind of limited in what you can do with the weighted tip pens. Now component suppliers often offer the tip pens in the various weights. If the correct weight's not available, at least for the graphite shafts, use the next heavier model. And then you can cut the tip pen by approximating the length that you might need, and then score it with a sharp razor knife. And then you continue to score it all the way around the circumference of the stem, and then you could just snap it off. There's a vent hole in these tip pens to allow air to be released during the installation. So if you take and cut the pens, the stems, what you're going to do is cut off the release hole, and sometimes you may have a situation where the shaft won't seat, it'll back out. So you got to be real careful about that. Another method that was commonly used involved using a heavy powder